Hey guys, we're right here with Radiant Clean. Today we're going to be doing this roof here in Fishhawk. So just doing the initial walk around. We already put a bag on the gutter in front. Gonna see if we need a bag otherwise, but you can see, and I'm not sure if you can see in this light, but it has some dark stains and stuff on the roof. I want to get that taken care of for them. I'm just gonna check out some other the gutter situation here. Doesn't look like there's any gutters over here. It doesn't look like there's any gutters over there, so I think we're good on that. Just need to water all this down. So what we're gonna do is pre-wet this whole area, wet all the grass. I think that feels pretty moist already because it's early in the morning and they probably have their sprinklers running, which is good, but we want to saturate those roots of all the plants, make sure that they are all wet so they're not absorbing any of the SH that runs off. But you can see we already put a bag on this gutter over here. So that will collect runoff. So I'm gonna start pulling the hoses and start spraying stuff down, and then we'll go from there, get this roof cleaned up. Talk to you soon. Alright, wet that down, and then we'll get the hoses out for the Softwash. Get up there, get the ladder out, get on the roof. Be back in a minute. Yep, and I'd hit that bush too. You can see how dark this is here. Well, this will already start lightening up as it's spraying. I didn't mention at the beginning of this, but we're using about a 5% mix of sodium hypochlorite with this. And a relatively high amount of surfactant. The surfactant is just soap that helps it cling to the shingles a little bit better. You can see how it's running off, and that surfactant helps it get in, stick a little bit longer so that it has more time to activate with the mold and mildew and start to kill that off. It's not perfect, there's still a lot of runoff, but it helps a little bit for it to cling and stay on there and get into those pores and stuff and the nooks and crannies of those shingles. And you can see, guys, we got Tony down there spraying so that all the runoff doesn't get on the grass, because there's no gutters on that side, so we need to be careful to saturate the roots, make sure those are not absorbing the SH.
You can see the nastiness on and off already.
Yep.
Holy crap. brine coming down.
There's also surfactant, soap in this, so that's some of that too.
What's that?
There's also soap in this, so some of that is going to be soap too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can try and catch you, I don't know.
I wouldn't try. Then there'd be no one to call the ambulance.
Hey, we're from New York, we don't call ambulances. We put you in the trunk of the car. We take care of it.
I feel ya. I grew up in the country, it's similar. You can see it lightening up already.
Yeah, I see this stuff coming off already.
Okay, so what started happening here as we're cleaning this side of the roof is I started losing pressure on the pump and it kept turning off on our 12-volt system. We eventually found out that it was the switch on the 12-volt pump was corroded and it kept vibrating off. So we had to go back and forth a few times with Tony just kind of holding it on when we were trying to get sections done. It would stay on for a little while, but then not other times. So it extended the time of this project quite a bit. It was a real pain in the butt. It was a very easy fix once I was able to get it fixed. So, it was just a switch that needed to be rewired on the pump. But it made the project quite a pain in the butt because I didn't have that part with me to be able to fix it on site. But you can see that where Tony and I kept going back and forth, he's still down below spraying and trying to keep the plants and stuff moist, and then running over to the truck and turning the switch back on. But eventually we got it worked out, and I'm glad it wasn't something more serious with the pump.
Alright guys, you can see how squeaky this is here. I'm going to 20 minutes to finish watering that stuff down and then we'll hit the side. I'm going to go to the back. You're just gonna have to hold it for me and I'll rinse down when I get down. Yeah. It's probably got corrosion in there or something. I'll watch you. Best I can. Yeah.
Or mold, mildew, and algae. And with the pump problems we got a really good initial coat on it that took way too long because of the pump. But I ended up having to come back and touch up a few areas, which I don't normally like to have to do. But I wasn't happy with the coverage because we just kept having pump issues. So we let it dwell on here for a day or so just to see what would come off. And then I came back at a later point and touched up just a couple little areas that I personally wasn't happy with, but it definitely made it more of a job. So. All right, now we got the initial coat of SH on the roof. We're letting that sit. Even though Tony was spraying all this down while I was up on the roof, I like to make sure we give it a final rinse down, very, very thorough rinse down after after we apply the SH, because we just want to water this down as much as possible, dilute anything that oversprayed, make sure that stuff that continues to drip off as it rolls down the side of the roof, that we're catching it and spraying it and keeping it down. You notice here I'm hitting the paint too, because it is such a strong mix of SH. I like to make sure that we're not leaving any overspray on the paint of the house so that it could potentially oxidize or damage the paint in any way. So just like with the plants, we like to water that down. All right, guys, we're just touching up some spots here that need it. Some dark spots that need a little extra bleach. Okay, guys, you can see we're touching up just a few small areas of darkness here, but that you can already see how much lighter this whole side of the roof is. As this continues to activate, some of those kind of off-color areas will continue to fade as the bleach reacts with it. We don't rinse the roofs. We like to let this sit on here as long as possible and keep killing. So sometimes some of that algae and mildew and stuff won't completely get washed off until the next rain or two. The dark sections, those will lighten up, and you can see they're kind of turning that lighter tan color-ish. And you can also see I'm still having issues with my pump here. But those will continue to lighten. So you can see it almost happen in real time in many cases, especially when it's sunny out and hot. But those dark spots will fade. They may turn a bit yellowy, tan, and then that gets washed off. So there's going to be runoff coming off this roof for a few weeks as the rains continue to wash some of that stuff off. But we don't rinse it because we want it to kind of sit on there and keep doing its work for as long as possible. Plus, we just don't want to wash a lot of that bleach into the gutters because it's not doing any good in the gutters, but it will do good on the roof. So, but you can see we're wrapping this up. Like I said earlier, I did come back and do some touch-up a day or two later for a couple of those really stubborn spots. But otherwise, this was a great roof cleaning, and come back next time and join us again. Good.